I believe I said I was gonna do this video like weeks ago now, but I maybe a part of me was just fearing it. But realistically, I didn't want to record it now anyway because I've recorded like 4 Weeknd videos and out of like maybe the 8 or so videos on the channel currently. But I decided if I'm milking it, why not milk it honestly? So here I am. I'm gonna be controversial and place these albums where I think they should go. And I'm gonna do it according to the Weeknd's discography, not really based on numbers as much, but like a 6 for the Weeknd isn't a 6 overall. I don't think he has a record that's like a D in letter grade. I do think he has some in C, but I'm gonna probably split it off just so it's like a more evenly dispersed ranking. I'm gonna start with my least favorite, Starboy. And I feel like a lot of people would actually, a lot of more mainstream fans would disagree with this pick, but I just kind of think it's like that. It's like it doesn't have the cohesiveness and the storytelling ability as some of his other projects have, which will lead to another album I have a problem with. It does have some really good songs like Starboy itself, the title track, Party Monster. I like Secrets a lot. Die For You is really good, and I Feel It Coming is really good, but it seems like a lot of the songs in between are just kind of okay, mediocre, even kind of bad. I'm not going to say which ones, I'm not trying to get attacked. But basically, I don't like All I Know. Nothing Without You is a nice track, like lyrically, but I think it's overproduced, and I'm not going to listen to it. I'll listen to the live version more than the actual version. Ordinary Life's a good track, but it's got some questionable lyrics. Attention and A Lonely Night are kind of just boring. 6 Feet Under is a rehash of Low Life, but not very great. It's very uninspired. I think Sidewalks is an annoying vocal effect. Well, not even a vocal effect, just auto-tune on the Weeknd. I don't think it needs to be there. True Colors is kind of just a bland R&B track from him. I don't like Stargirl Interlude that much. I don't think it offers too much. And False Alarm is just a misfire to me. There's just a lot on this album I'm not a big fan of. But, I mean, it's not because it's pop music, it's because I find it to be pretty generic pop music. Especially for the Weeknd, who usually streamlines the pop music to make it more interesting. But on to my next pick here, which I'd put in a similar tier but slightly better. Beauty by the Madness. It's got similar problems, but it's shorter, so it contains it better, and I think the hits are better. The first 3 tracks I don't listen to often, but that being said, Tell Your Friends is a really good song. I'm just not it's not a song I go to much. But Real Life and Losers are songs that I would consider not good. Real Life is alright, and Losers is what I consider to be bad. I think it's boring. I think it's a bad attempt at like preaching to the younger people. And I think Real Life is conceptually a good record, but it's just overproduced to me. It's got a lot of the problems Starboy has as a record, because it seems like both of them are just attempts at hits throughout the album. I think Often's a fun song. It's still a more mainstream version of a Weeknd song, but I think it's good at doing it, and I think the production's pretty interesting. I like the sample in it. The Hills is obviously a banger in itself. Can't Feel My Face is a fun pop song. I don't want to hear it ever again, though. I think Shameless is pretty boring, and I know a lot of people love Shameless, but I just think it leans that sexual direction too much in just an uninteresting way from him, I guess. And then I don't like Earned It that much, but sometimes it hits, though. I understand that song at least. I don't have a big problem with it. I like In the Night a lot. I think that's a tonally very dark song for him. I think the storytelling's pretty good on it. I like As You Are a lot, but realistically it's pretty basic. I just like I like the outro, a lot of it. I think it's pretty heartfelt, and I think it's genuine from him. I don't like Dark Times at all. I don't like it on either perspective. It's not just because I don't like Ed Sheeran, which I don't. It's because I just don't think it's a very... It's not really a topic that I think I need to hear from him. Even if it's not like a super detailed topic that is like untouchable to him, I just don't think it was done very well. Prisoner has a cool chorus to me, and I like what values the song brings, but I don't like the verses, and it's got a similar production style problem that I have to a lot of the album. Angel is another genuine cut. I don't like the woman's vocals on it. I think they've got that like overbearing nature to them that I find in a lot of vocalists, and it's just jarring, really. But I do think the song itself is pretty good, to be fair on it. But I just think a lot of both of these albums contains filler. I don't go back to them as often, like very often at all anymore. But I have a lot more positive things to say about the rest of the albums here. But these are just two records I don't find to be the best of the Weeknd. Next would be Thursday. I think it's better than Beauty and the Madness, but I think a lot better than Beauty and the Madness. But it has a problem that I'm going to discuss in a second here. It kind of, on a lot of tracks, it seems like he's kind of just slurring off and saying random things like a freestyle, and I'm pretty sure it's been hinted that it's like mostly a freestyle, and if in Gone's case it is directly a free song the whole song, and you can tell. That's why I don't like Gone that much. I think it's a weird song for the Weeknd. Lonely Star does it, I believe. I haven't listened to Lonely Star in a bit, but that's a good song still. Life of the Party is pretty structured. It doesn't really do it. Thursday definitely does it. It drags. So does The Zone, but I still love The Zone. The Birds Part 2 does it. And Rolling Stone does it too. But, I mean, it's not like they're bad songs. No, Rolling Stone, The Birds Part 2, and The Zone are some of my favorites on the mixtape. But I feel like if they were more concise, they'd be even better songs. I'm not very interested in Heaven or Las Vegas. I've never been a fan of that song. I don't put it on. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of Gone or Thursday or Life of the Party. I don't think they're not bad songs, and they're not uninspired like the songs that I critiqued from the other two albums that I have up already. But they're just not as interesting as songs like The Birds Part 1, The Zone, Rolling Stone, even Lonely Star. It's just like the writing and the song structure kind of dropped off from House of Balloons, I think, in a way. It's not like a fall from grace. There's still a lot of interesting songs and just ideas on this mixtape, but I don't think that they, besides the highs, I don't think it mostly, like, as a whole touches House of Balloons. My next pick, on a different day, I could say Echoes of Silence is better to me than House of Balloons, but not today, apparently. The thing with this, it's got the best production of the three mixtapes to me, and the writing is pretty good on it. It starts off strong with an amazing Dirty Diana cover. That being said, Dirty Diana's never been my favorite Michael Jackson song. I do think it's good, but it's not the strongest song here, not by a long shot. It's followed by a song far better, Montreal, amazing song. He sings in French, it's amazing. Outside's pretty good. I like the melodies on Outside. I think it sounds nice. Just topically, it's not like something crazy for him. X of the Host is a full like storytelling song, and I like both parts of the song very much. It's just a very high note for not just this mixtape, but the whole trilogy. Initiation is very experimental for him in just the regard of what he's doing with the vocal effects. I think it does work here. I just don't think it's a super like easy listen. Same Old Song is pretty good, but I don't like the Juicy J outro. I like The Fall is a weird one for me because I can listen to it now and I'd be heavy into it. I'd really enjoy it, but a lot of the time it's just kind of there. I don't listen to it a ton or anything. I don't know how to explain it, but I like the concept. I like the whole, well, basically just the chorus. I ain't afraid of the fall. I felt the ground before. Well, I'm not scared of the fall. You know how it is. The next is amazing. I think that's a really great song. I think vocally, you can hear the emotion in that song. Echoes of Silence is maybe vocally, besides maybe Until I Bleed Out, his saddest song, delivery wise. And if we touch on the bonus tracks for all three of these mixtapes, I think they're all phenomenal. Couldn't give you a ranking, but they're all great. But that's kind of why I didn't go into it, because I can't really add or subtract for any of the bonus tracks on these, because they're about even to me. My Dear Melancholy. Oh, I meant to do this before Echoes of Silence, my bad. My Dear Melancholy is a great little EP. I think it's a fun package. Not a fun package. What kind of description word is that for this? But, well, I'll start with the highlights. Call On My Name is a great song. I think it's a great attempt at like a sad pop song for mainstream audiences. Vocally, he is showing a lot of soul for this track. Try Me in production wise is pretty interesting. I think it starts pretty cool, but really it's kind of just a basic Weeknd track. I compare it to like Too Late in that regard. It's a Weeknd track. Yeah, it's what you expect. Wasted Times is alright. I think it's pretty good, to be fair. It's just not these two songs don't reach the intrigue that Call On My Name brought into the picture, but the next song does. I Was Never There is a spectacular Weeknd song production wise. It's very cool. It's very clean and crisp. It's got a cool aroma to it. Gesaffelstein did a great job. If I butchered that, I'm sorry. And it does a beat switch like vintage Weeknd. And I think both parts are great, and he has the whole poison myself metaphor at the end that I enjoy. Hurt You is very uninteresting to me. I know a lot of people like this song a lot, but I think, especially riding off the coattails of I Was Never There, it's just bland for him. Privilege has like a weird structure to it where it has a kind of a hook, but not really. And I do like it. I wish it was longer though. That's kind of my only complaints are the couple songs that I find to be kind of bland for him, or just alright. And that wouldn't be a problem if this was an album, but this is a 6-track EP, so that's kind of why it's there instead of higher. But the highs are spectacular. They're very high, but that's just how I'm feeling about it now. Alright, this is where I get people mad, because my top 3 does not include House of Balloons. I'd put it there. It's a great opening to a career. And High for this is a great opening, as is like for the whole discography. It starts out very strong. What You Need has never been my favorite. It's smooth, it is, but it doesn't really do a lot for me. I like the Aaliyah sample a lot. House of Balloons is spectacular. It's amazing. It does everything right to me. It's hype while also being anxious. It's like vibrant in like it's instrumental, but also like dark and gritty in the second half. That's just kind of me spitballing about how I feel about it, but it does a lot. The Morning is good. I like how he's showing his aspirations for his career in the song. Cali is the mission and whatnot. Wicked Games is still one of my favorite Weeknd songs. It shows his lack of confidence while also bringing to table his more flamboyant behaviors. It's it can be a relatable song, especially if you struggle with that kind of confidence issue where you hope someone will show that they care for you, even if they don't, just to like prove to yourself you're able to be cared for or loved. The party and the after party is like mix annoys me, and I think I mentioned it in my Weeknd song ranking video, but it's too smooth for me to critique it too much on that. And I'm one that actually prefers the after party to the party. It gets dark, and it's a story in itself. And I think he excels when he starts telling stories in his music. He does it on... Well, Exo the Host is a comparison. I already said that's a storytelling-driven song, but I think he does it really well. And that leads into my favorite on the mixtape, Coming Down. It's not like the most varied writing on a song. It's pretty obvious in its message, but I think that message is... It can be relatable, basically. And I love the sample that happens like maybe 2/3 into the song. I'm not a huge fan of loft music. I think it has a fun flow, but I do think it kind of trails off like a song would on like Thursday, where it kind of just continues for the sake of continuing. The Knowing is extraordinary. It's super sad, but it's also toxic. It's what he does best. With all of what I said, you might be wondering how on earth could I say anything else is better. I'm gonna try to explain it. I don't know. This is where Dawn FM would go right for me right now. Like right here. And I think the best way to explain why Dawn FM is there is to talk about why the next album is where it is. Now, Kissland would go right in front of Dawn FM. And the reason why is that I love the flow, I love the production, how cohesive it is. It tells a story throughout the album. And I love the song transitions. Like, Professional is an amazing opener. It really takes you into the story. The Town is a rehashing of events prior. Adaptation is kind of a look back on what's happened, and that leads into Love in the Sky, production wise, where he's speaking on what he's doing with this current love or in his life, and that leads into Belong to the World, production wise as well, with the lightning strike, the thunder, at the beginning of the song, transitions from the rain and Love in the Sky, and all of that's amazing. I have another Live For. I don't like Live For, but I still like the production of it. Wanderlust is a great pop track from The Weeknd prior to when that was his thing. Kissland has a beat transition in the middle, and once it happens, the song goes from great to some of the best he has to offer. He's flowing on the second half of the song with the screams in the back. It's just a vibe, and I'm sorry for using that word instead of like explaining further, but I don't really know how to. You have to listen to it to understand. Tears in the Rain and Pretty are both amazing. They're like some of the highest highs on this album. It's kind of a petty, sad anthem to start with Pretty, and then one of his saddest songs yet. I was gonna say at all time with Tears in the Rain, because he realizes that basically if he failed, so he can't be loved again. Is that true? I don't think so, but it's basically, the whole point is that he thinks that, which is a very depressing mindset to be in. I guess that also explains why I like After Hours. It's a storytelling album. No, but hold up. I can explain all three of these in the same way. Cohesive, story-driven albums. Dawn FM was more tied to Kissland for me because of the transitions in between tracks. It's more cohesive than I would say After Hours is. But I can explain After Hours in a similar regard. It has one transition between Hardest to Love and Scared to Live, but that's not really the point. It's a through-line story where he's tumbling over the fact that he can't have this woman he's in love with and he can't handle himself. And as simple as that sounds, he ventures to show you every in and out of this relationship. It's very interesting. And it's got songs such as Alone Again, Escape from LA, Heartless Faith, Blinding Lights, After Hours, and Until I Bleed Out. Those are all fantastic songs, and I think some of them are the best he has to offer. And I think After Hours is literally the best song he has to offer. And that's why I have it at number one. I think it encapsulates what made the Weeknd back in the day and what makes the Weeknd now, or in 2020, but still. And I think Dawn FM also carries that. Even if it steps away from the old sound, it keeps some of the concepts, but also branches off of them. I think he's brought a fantastic sound to his current narrative, and I'm just very excited to see what he does from this point in his career. And I don't think either Dawn FM or After Hours would have happened without Kissland having been penned in 2013. I'm sorry, this video was not meant to be this long, but that's how I'm feeling about it. Thanks for sitting through if you did, or thanks for even watching it all. Sorry it took so long to do the ranking, but I figured I could do it now since I felt like I had a lot to say about it. Happy late holidays. Well, kind of. We still got a couple coming, as in New Year's Eve and New Year's. But you guys have a good rest of your nights. See you next time. Peace.